righteousness. Teach them righteousness. And I know as well as any of you all that sometimes bringing your children to church, they don't want to come to church, they don't want to do it, and then if you give in to them, you lost. You lost. Because the thing is that there's no child know what they want to do. They want to play right now, and you get them a toy to play, then they don't want to do that anymore. Their strategy is not that long. It's not getting endure. So we're making a big mistake. I got to say it now. Y'all listen to me. We're making a big mistake when we bring our children to church and let them play with their telephones with games. The church is not a game player. You should let them listen. My heart goes out now that we don't have the room. We have the room, but we can hear through the room where the children can have their children church. But it's coming. But before there were children church, they sit down in the church. They sit there. They didn't play games. And then what you're doing, you're allowing computers and little gadgets to rear your children. And that will give you a good opportunity to tell them when you go to the church, sit down. And practice starts at home. If you can't make them sit down at home, they're not going to sit down in the church. They're going to run all over the place. So you ought to start it at home. And when you do that, then and the daddy job is to reinforce it. You can't be a father and you're at home and the children running all over the place and you don't say anything. Talk to your mama. Talk to your mama. No, you say it and they'll do it. If you're really a man. If you're the priest, you say sit down, they're going to sit down. Or you help them sit down. I know that a lot of y'all raising your children like Mr. Spock and all that. Spock didn't have no children. He didn't have none. That's why he wrote about them. People that have children, they know that you don't, you can't whip them. Just teach them violent. Okay, how many of you, let me see the hand of you that got whipping when you was at home. Y'all some violent folks. Y'all some violent people. It began, God wants us to teach our children. He wants us to be that in between to let them know what is right and what is wrong. It's not mom's job to do that all the time. It's your job. You're the priest. You're the person that cares for their soul. You're the person that's watching out for them. And what I find, and to me, is one of the most dangerous things in the church in Christendom. Let's say it's in Christendom. And here's what's danger. Anybody that have children is going to have problems. And if you say you have children, they never gave you no problem, you'll lie about other things. Because you're going to have some problem. But here's where the other problem come in. When our children don't do what we think they should do, we will lie to folks to try to protect our own self. We'll say, my child won't do that, or this or that. No, your child or my child will do things that you don't think they would do. But don't try to save your face. Don't try to save your face. I told him this morning, I have a granddaughter that's a lesbian. But I love her just as much as I love all the rest of my children. She knows that I don't want her in that lifestyle. But I love her. And I remember about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, she was here, and I went down, it was Christmas time, and I took her down to get her a present. And I went downtown with just her and I, and we was talking. And so, we was talking, and we was holding hands, and I was talking to her, Sister Carmichael, and some of the folks, that knew I was a pastor, they saw me in the mall, and instead of them, doing, hi, pastor, how you doing? No, hi. Just like, other words, he with her? It's my daughter, it's my granddaughter. Whatever you become, it's still your granddaughter. And so don't try to hide yourself. If your child got problems, pray for him. Pray for him and pray for him. And the man should be the first one to lead out with prayer. You pray for them. Because sometimes, let me tell you something. Something about children that's brought up in the church if the parent and the father have not been a good protector for them and talked to them, sometimes we're overprotective. We're overprotective. And when you get overprotected, then they're going to come out. You shield them too much. And so you got to give them some time, and everybody needs some time to fail. They need some time to fail. I mean, I got children that have been to prison. And when they went to prison, I went to prison, brought them some food, gave them some money, sent them stuff on the book. But I wasn't going to stay in prison with them. I left as soon as my visitation was over. Huh? I know I had taught them right. I know they didn't do better. I mean, my son, got on drugs. And when they arrested him, put him in jail. And he called me and said, Daddy, now watch this, listen to this, Daddy. He said, come get me. I'm down here with these these gangbangers and these Crips and everybody. What in the world is wrong with you? You're a crook. You're a crook. You down where you belong. Come on, I'm here. Come get me. I'm here with these gangbangers. And that's where you belong. That's where they put you at, where you belong. Come get me. Pay the price and you'll get an understanding. The hardest thing I had to do in my entire life with my child is when they told me I was in Austin, Texas, running the revival. And I had a lawyer, I had a friend that was a lawyer, and 2 or 3 others. And I could have told them, and they could have got him out again. But I made my mind up. He hadn't learned his lesson. And if I get him out again, I know that he was going to hurt somebody or somebody was going to hurt him. And the devil told me 5 or 6 times, you better catch a plane because they're going to, in the morning, he's going to court. Catch a plane, get the lawyer, call him. But I didn't do it. Let me tell you, being a man, will y'all listen to me? People look at me and they think, I'm 67. They think that I've been through more than you ever would know. But I knew in my heart, if I go and get that boy out of jail, he was going back or he was going to hurt somebody. Women have that feeling, and they don't understand we have it too. His mom was extremely hurt. But I said, look, Betty, I cannot come. Let it work itself out. And it did. And when he got out, he stayed out. It's been over 10 years now. He stayed out. But that's being a father. That's being the priest. The priest don't go in jail and get folks out of jail. He go in jail and visit them and comfort them in jail. Huh? So, and being a chaplain. If a person going to be a chaplain for a prison, for the jail, that's the highest paying chaplain is in prison. If they get their masters and get the 4 units, they can make up to $100 and some $1,000 a year. But you know why they don't pay that much in the hospital? They don't pay $60,000 or $70,000 in the hospital because you can go home and come out every night. But if you're a chaplain in the prison, if the prisoners have a riot and they close up the door and lock it up, you locked up in there with them. They don't say, we're going to open the door and come on out, Rab, we're going to let you out. No, you're there. So you just have to start praying. If you wasn't praying, you sure going to be praying then. And so there's consequences of being the head, the priest. There's consequence. There's a lifestyle that goes with that. Do you understand that these children are going to become what they see? What they see. And one of the things that hurts me more than anything, I talk to my children are PK kids, and I know some of the problems they have. Because sometimes when you're a PK kid, everybody wants you to be perfect. Well, that's the pastor's son, that's the pastor's daughter, and they should be doing this or they should be doing that. And so you got a lot of pastors that let things like that worry them, and then they make their children try to act like they're right when they're wrong. They want them to put on everything just like, everybody else. They don't have no child's life. They never get through the children's life because they want to make them look like they're grown folk when they're not. Let them have their time. Paul said, when I was a child, I spake as a child. Didn't he say that? And I act like a child. But when I became what? I put away what? Childish things. So let them have their childhood. Because you got to see, this is what's killing us. You got a lot of folks that preach the gospel, deacons, that deacon and ushers and all of that stuff, and they go home and beat their wife, or they fighting and they cursing. Pastors doing this stuff. And sometimes the pastor's wife don't come back to church until she get well. He done jumped on her. Now, if I was the pastor's wife, and I tell pastors that when I'm talking to them, if that man jump on you and beat you up, you come right on to church. Don't put no glasses on or nothing. You come to church and let the folks know who's over them. I'm serious, I know, but that's what it should take, because we ought not have that. There should not be that. You ought to be who you are when you're away from the church. You shouldn't be one thing in the church and something else on the other side. That's what God is calling for. And we got something going on now in the church, and this is why I'm talking to men. This is why I'm hard on men. And somebody say you're hard on. I'm not hard on. I just want you to be a man. One thing I know, I don't know how to be a woman, but God knows I know how to be a man. And I figured after 6 or 7 years I could help somebody. The reason why I made the mistakes in my marriage that I made was not being the father that I wanted to be. And I was always there as much as I thought I could be, but sometimes I couldn't be there. And I believe that was one of the only things I did. I worked so much that I was not with my children all the time. But we did go to park. We did go to, we went to all the events around. We went to Magic Mountain. We went to Disneyland. We went all those places together. We went to the park. We ate together. We went on vacation together. But there was sometimes I think I didn't have enough time. But I didn't have the teaching. So now I'm giving you all the teaching. I'm saying to you, that's why I've been married 50 years. 50 years of being married, I ought to tell you how to stay with your wife, and you ought to be able, y'all ain't going to talk to me. It's strange if I could keep one for 50 years and you can't keep one for a year. You may need to sit down and talk to me. When you think, ain't no need to talk to the one that done had 5. They done had 5 or 6 wives. You think you want to go to that man for counseling? That's a bad place to go. He done lost 5 or left 5. And you want to keep your husband? There was a time. God help me. That's why I've been preaching on the series, Restoring the Temple of God for Worship. There was a time, even among the sinners, a divorce was a no-no. Y'all don't remember that, but I guarantee you, even among the sinners, it was a no-no. Now in the church, they're afraid to say anything about it. The bishop don't say nothing about it. They got people that marrying. Preacher's been married 2 or 3 times. They don't say nothing. But do they understand that God is the same God? Have God left? Have God saying it's all right now because somebody else is doing it? Absolutely not. Now, I'm not saying there are some folks that you can't stay with. But at least you ought to be able to stay with the second one. If they didn't die, or they didn't walk off and leave you. Huh? Now, there's some folks, and I know there are some people you can't stay with. But try to find out all of that. That's why I changed some taxes in my pre-marriage counseling. I changed the thing. In these last 2 years, I had to change the thing. Coming on into this 21st century, you know, you heard the man say last night. I mean, not last night. You was here on Friday night. Dr. Trimmer said these children are crazy. Didn't he say that? He said they're crazy. And I had to sit there. I didn't know what to say altogether, but I know he was hitting on it. Because here's what I changed. I used to take them through these 5 steps, get all the information. Now here's what I extended. Look at somebody says extended. I said to the lady, alone, and I said to the man, alone. How long have you known this person? Have you checked the background? Have you found out how many is crazy in the family? Have they ever killed anybody? Have they been in prison? Or some of the people's in prison? Do you have a record? No, I mean, that may sound, that may not, but this is what's going on. They got a record, they got other children, they pay child support, they don't tell you nothing. You in love. What love got to do with somebody been to jail and robbed somebody and raped somebody, beat somebody up? You know, yes, God will forgive you, but I want to know about it. I want to know about it. I want to know how many of your uncles and your aunts, what they doing. Because when I marry you, I'm marrying everybody in your family. Part of them is in you. Y'all didn't know that? You're not just marrying her and she's just marrying you. She's marrying everybody in there. Part of it. So you want to know about that. I added that and I tell them that. But they be so in love that, they just. But you don't have to say, if I had known. If I had known this, I never would have. So it's better that you pull out before you join than to join and have to pull out. That's the truth. And that's what our young folks have to understand. That this is, and I added that to the marriage counseling. Find out, shake the tree. You have to get a private detective to go back into the background. Find now y'all looking at me strange. How many jobs that you can get now and they don't check your background? How many jobs? They check your credit and everything. Don't they do it? Now you're going to marry somebody you're going to be with for life and you don't want to know their background? Do you understand? I'm just trying to help you. You're going to marry somebody and in marriage, I told you, is a death wish. You're signing a death wish until death do us apart. That's what you say. Yeah, I love, I cherish, and I obey until death do us apart. And you sign it. That's a death wish, a death warrant. So I'm going to sign a death warrant and I don't know what you done did. All you did, I'm in love. Now, let me try to fast forward here. That's the priest. You're the priest of the home. The second thing, you're the prophet. What is a prophet? The prophet is you presenting God to you. The priest is the in-between, but the prophet is presenting you to God. That's where that you bring them, you raise a real child until they are old enough where that you can know they have an understanding. You have been the in-between up until now, but now you're teaching them how to go to God for themselves. Do y'all understand that? There's a time you got to teach the children to go to God for themselves. And as a parent, the problem we have as a parent, when they are small, they're on our knees, they're on our lap. But when they grow up, they're on our hearts. And that's where you really don't want them at, is on your heart. And the children, you know, they think I know y'all children don't do that. Now y'all children never did this to you. But the children will go out and you tell them, you know, say you got to be in by, 12 o'clock. And they don't come in at 12. Y'all ain't never had that to happen. And so you just go to bed and you don't worry about it because they're going to come in at 12. But no, they come in at 1 o'clock and they think that they can tip in and ease in or open the door and just slide on in. You don't know it. You sitting up there waiting on them. Is anybody, do I know anybody beside me? Yeah. You waiting on them. You ain't going to sleep and your child didn't come in. Not if you love them, you're not going to sleep. You can try to go to sleep and you still won't go to sleep. Every time you close your eyes, you say, that boy ain't here yet. They not here yet. And so that's the problem we have. But as the prophet, teach them what is right. Teach them what there's always a consequence for what you do. Whatever you do, right or wrong, there's a good thing and a bad thing. And if you want to do the bad thing, there's some consequences. You want to do the good thing, there's some consequences. So the priest then, the prophet then, got to tell them and tell them what their future going to be if they continue that behavior. That's what they need to know. You continue this behavior, this is what's going to happen. You won't get anybody to hire you if you're going to continue to use drugs. You can let them know that you're failing yourself right now. Oh, marijuana won't hurt me. No, you're failing yourself right now. It will hurt you. It'll keep you from getting some jobs. So you're hurting yourself. You're smoking away your future. Nobody want to hire a drug addict. You don't want to hire. Because you can't trust them. There's a man on the job when I was working. he told the people that his mom had died, and they gave him 3-4 days off. His mother wasn't dead. Wasn't. He just was an alcoholic. He's an alcoholic. And he said his mother had died. So you'll be surprised what people will do if there's no roadblocks, no things to do. So as that prophet, you are to guide your children, and there's come a time, I don't care what, there's come a time in the life you got to turn them loose. You have to turn them loose. And that, it don't make any sense. I had a lady once call me from the radio broadcast, and she was crying. And she said to me, she said, Pastor, I don't know what to do. I listen to you every day. She said, and my retirement is not enough to take care of me and my child. And it's just hard. So he do this and he do that. So I asked her how old he was. She said 43. "43 years old. And she was still taking care of him and didn't know how she going to do it. I said, do you think maybe he should be out on his own? He just can't make it. He's been out 2 or 3 times, but he just can't make it. And I don't know what to do. I'm 75 years old. I said, I could give you some advice, but I don't know will you take it or not. She said, my home is paid for. I said, that's good. I said, let me give you some advice, but you don't have to do it. I said, sell your house, move into a senior citizen place, and live the rest of your life the best you can. But what is he going to do? I'm almost changing colors because I'm trying to pick a nice thing to say. What I wanted to say, I couldn't say it. It wouldn't have been proper. It wouldn't have been the thing a preacher should say. So I had to stop and think. I said, he'll make it. I said, he'll make it. I said, the system will help him make it. She said, I don't know. I just can't do that because I was saving the house for him. I said, well, how him going to handle the house without a job? Now, she putting herself through all of that trouble with a grown man that won't work because she had babied him all his life. There'll come a time you got to cut the cord. And everybody got a right to fail. You have a right to make it, you have a right to fail. And this is the hardest thing about parenting. You got to learn how to just, sometimes you just got to turn it loose. You got to turn it loose. And so fathers, you be that prophet there. You go in between. You teach your children that the God is their thing, that they got is the one that helps them. God is their help. God, they got to depend